Hello Hornby fans and welcome to Signal Box Live with me, Mike, and today my two guests. On my right, the Heartbreak Kid, Head of Development, Carl.
Hello everyone.
And on my left, the Comeback King, Martyn Weaver, Head of Brand, the new Head of Brand as well.
Hello people.
So you know the platform, we're going to sit, we're going to talk about some latest samples, we're going to talk about some latest development samples, but first I want to get into this gentleman here because some of you may have seen him at our recent events, but Martyn is a new face here for Hornby, but this isn't your first rodeo, is it?
It is not. No. It's so. No, I've been with the company intermittently for 16 years. So I first joined way back in 2007 when the company first acquired Airfix, and that was my first project, my first outing. Actually, shortly after that, I did work on the railways brand with Simon for a bit, around about 2008. Then I worked on Corgi. So I spent a bit of time working in Leicester. That's just after Hornby had acquired Corgi brand. I then left the business. I then came back to undertake a project on Scale Electric.
Here we go, live as always, full of fun surprises. So we were talking about you being friends. You've known each other for a while. How does that dynamic feel now that you're working together?
Yes. It's fine, isn't it, Martyn?
It is absolutely fine. Yeah, obviously we try and keep. Bear in mind that we were in our late teens when we met. There's obviously a lot of kind of history and stories which you want to keep out of the workplace as you naturally would. But for work dynamics, that's the important thing. Yeah, it's fun.
fine.
You know each other.
Yeah, and had you experienced railways when you were younger, both, or like was that a shared interest, or was it just because you worked at Hornby, you got to know each other through that?
No, we knew each other before Hornby, didn't we? But you know, I've grown up with railways. I think you have done the same, haven't you?
Yeah.
I remember once your dad had his layout on the dining room table, didn't we?
That's right. Yeah, many years ago. Yeah. So I suppose we both knew that each of us had an interest in trains and model railway. Whether it was always a topic of subject when we were out or whatnot, that's debatable. Yeah, we did know, and I think I did clear out something a while ago, and we found some of Carl's model railway stuff that he had left behind. I think.
Oh, nice.
Did you not try to build a layout once?
Yeah.
And, yeah, he did. Yeah. Where there was some of the reminiscence of the attempts which were there. But this was a long time ago down there.
And have you had any heated discussions? I always find that friends that then work together have like brothers and sisters. You can always
No,
No,
we haven't got that dynamic.
Nah.
No, it's fine. I mean, there's the odd joke in there and things that we might share with the team just to get a few giggles here and there.
Yeah.
But no, it's all very, very professional.
And then I guess because we work so far in advance, the ranges you're looking at together now are sort of a couple of years ahead or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're really we're kind of talking more 2025 and beyond, and what can we do and what should we do, and how do we approach it? And obviously, there's a kind of huge legacy that's been left of ideas from the experience, from Simon, especially. You know, he left a lot of his great ideas from his experience. So we have that to work with, which is great.
Nice. And talking about ranges, we're going to talk about some latest arrivals, which of course the Turbo Motive, which you'll have seen online. So we've got Turbo Motive going around our turntable in front of us. First thing when we talked about it, you said make sure you can hear the sound in any videos because it has a very distinctive sound.
Yeah, I think it's one of the selling points. It's just something completely different from what we've done before. I know Chris and Ken really struggled getting this to sound how we think it should have sounded. Obviously, it's not one in existence to record now. So we hope customers are happy with it, and I think it's a fantastic model. It really is. It's a lovely looking, large loco, really iconic, and yeah, I just hope people are happy with it.
Is there a particular reason why it has that distinctive sound?
Yeah, so it's a steam turbine. Right. So rather than having cylinders where it produces chuff, 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 this is more like a steam jet engine, if you like, and and it's got a very distinctive whistling sound, like a jet engine. So yeah, completely different, something completely different.
And fully DCC ready, anything like
fully
that?
DCC ready. We've got quite a new sort of innovation, well, not an innovation, but a nice little feature where you can turn off the red light at the back just by touching the sides of the tender.
Okay.
You know, so if you're pulling rolling stock, you know, in real life you wouldn't have that lamp lit, so you can turn it off by just touching the side of the tender. It's got working front lights, full, really heavy die-cast body. I mean, when you pick this thing up, it feels like a real, you know, like it's got some weight to it and feels like a really nice quality model. And yeah, it's really, really good. Really, really happy with it.
So how long did development and kind of the project for this take?
I believe, because Phil was the designer of it. We started about 18 months ago. It's actually developed quite quickly, this model, because a lot of the problems we have when we're developing a steam loco is the valve gear.
Right.
So getting all the clearances right for navigating curves and things like that on this model, because it doesn't have valve gear, it was quite an easy model to test and develop. So it actually moved along quite quickly compared to other models.
Nice. And what do you think the most exciting thing for people at home will be when they get it out and put it on their layout?
It's the weight. It weighs a ton. You know, it feels like a really expensive model, and I think the finish, you know, we've got on the boiler, has really makes it stand out against other models. You know, it's just you look at it. I don't think there's one thing on there I'd ask to improve.
Yeah.
It's just really, really nice.
Then presumably then because it weighs more, it can pull more.
Yeah.
It looks like, you can tell by looking at it from a distance that no matter what you do, you can see in the texture finish. It just looks a strong value.
It's got the most powerfulest motor we have in our sort of motor bank, if you call it that. Yeah, so it's because we've got the room to put it in there. So yeah, it's brilliant.
And you can use HM7000.
Yeah, HM7000 fully compatible. Yeah, no issues there. So.
Awesome. So any other arrivals that have come out recently?
What latest launches?
Yeah, I suppose it's the biggest one we've had.
In my short tenure, this is
P2
the biggest. Yeah, because that was just before. That's right.
They've all been. I mean, recently we're getting a lot of these high-end, high-detailed locos. P2 especially was really popular. So it's not quite nice to if you want a nice Christmas list model there to ask someone to buy a Turbomotives one for, but it's not all about latest samples. It's obviously development, which we enlisted you to tell us about. So we've got some development samples which you're going to show off. Which one did you want to start with?
Yeah, we had a very good week this week for sample delivery. The first one I wanted to show was the Transpennine IEP. This is the decoration on this model has been in development for quite some time now, just because of the difficulties we've got with all these colour breaks around the front of the body.
Yeah.
The manufacturers really struggled to get this looking as we wanted it. So, but you know, the first time I saw these samples, I just thought, wow, they've upped the bar.
Yeah.
You know, normally with a livery like this, you'd have to UV print it, which gives it a bit of a rough finish, but somehow they've managed to do it with a sort of a mixture of tampo printing and waterside decals, and it looks really good.
Yeah, that's really impressive actually. So why this? Why did you want to?
Just such an interesting livery. You know, it's something new to the sort of that's been running around the sort of north of the country, and yeah, we just wanted to do it. I just think it's got more colour than what IP's got in it. Yeah, it's just a really nice, interesting livery.
Am I being silly here? But the chassis underneath, this looks different to me.
Yeah, we have changed that slightly. So, well, number one, we've changed the lighting configuration in this model now. So it's got fully working day and night lights, all controlled by the decoder if you've got DCC fitted. We've also changed the decoder fitment to 21 pin and put extra space in there for a speaker as well. So.
And then we've recently started introducing our new coupling, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the couplings. That's the old stuff.
Okay. But we do have the tender coupling up.
Yeah, between the loco and tender. Yeah, which is on the next model I'm going to show you.
So how long did this project take?
That's been this has been in development for over a year now. Just because of the we've had to make some tooling changes to it, so we've retooled the seat units to make them accurate.
Yeah.
And obviously getting this decoration looking as good as it does.
So how obviously we've talked quite a few times on various different videos and things like that about the development process. Is there a particular part of that process that is probably I don't want to say the hardest or the most challenging, but in my mind I'm thinking we have so many different liveries, so many different train operators and things like that. Does that side of things become difficult? Working with that?
It's things like this that are really difficult for us because it looks easy. I'll just paint it a different colour. But when you've got a livery that wraps around a really complex set of curves on the front end of a locomotive, that is so difficult to do. Also when we find steam locos are harder to develop as well. When you're sort of testing valve gear and things like that, it's trying to get the loco to run smoothly around curves and track point work and not create short circuits and create sticking points on a locomotive. That's the difficult part of that as well.
So how many coaches with this, carriages with this?
So it comes in
typically have?
This is a 5-car set.
Yep.
And that's what we're releasing it as, but as time goes on we might look at doing other variants.
Nice.
So.
And this is deco sample, so that means what? How long till it'll be able to be in people's
And around 6 months.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a typical sort of length between deco? And how many different versions of samples might you go through in that time?
So we've gone through 2 samples of this already.
Yeah.
Where we've gone back with changes, but typically about 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. On deco. Deco samples.
What things are you looking for just to make? Are you just checking it against that artwork and?
Yeah, checking the artwork, checking it against what's the actual real locomotive, things like finish and fit of components and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's move on to steam and the Black 5.
Yes.
Which I know Phil has been on before and spoken about how difficult this project's been.
Yeah. So this is Phil's baby.
Yeah.
But unfortunately he's decided to go on holiday for a week. So. But.
Just so you know, Martyn, me and you are being told to speak louder.
Yeah. I haven't spoken for a while, which is very unlikely. Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm taking this all in it.
So do you wanna?
So there you go. So what version have we got here on the table?
So we've got 3 versions of the Black 5. The only one we were waiting for now is the Capote version, which is still in tooling development.
And so, am I right in thinking there's around 500 different variants?
No, nearly 800.
800
I believe.
different variants.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm assuming some of them are very small.
If you could see the size of the tooling bank for this model, it's incredible. Huge amount of investment for Hornby, but one of those locomotives you continue to release year on year. It's just why would you not have it in the range? It was used everywhere.
Widespread.
Yeah, so widespread. But honestly, when you get an engineering sample of a model, most of the time as soon as you put it on the track, you can see problems with running or something like that. This was one of those models where we put it on the track and straight away it was just so smooth and almost how you want it to be on the finished product.
The matte black is really nice.
Yeah, on the smoke box.
Yeah, just in general, it looks really, really. Again, you say obviously this one's got a bit more sheen to it, it's a motive, but I mean, I'm a big fan of black logos anyway. Yeah, it's quite. So, does that mean there could be 800 different variants that we could produce down the line?
Potentially, we've told most of them. Yeah.
Really?
I can't remember the exact figure Phil's covered, but it's most of that.
So then, how do you go? We've got 800 different variants. How do you pick which ones you're going to do first? And what?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's really down to us really, and it is a minefield. We are working with a couple of experts as well, who sort of help us with some of these decisions. But Nick, who works on the artworks for this model, he's got a lot of knowledge of Black 5 because he's worked with Hornby for 30 years, so he's got a lot of knowledge, and I think he decided on most of these first releases and what they'd be.
And so Phil must have been everywhere to try and look at
Yeah,
different areas.
well, luckily we've got one next door in,
Oh, nice.
in,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the warehouse. So,
and how many of them are still around?
I don't know the figure, to being perfectly honest. Not off the top of my head. Yeah.
So these are, what stage are these? Sorry, so
these are first decoration samples.
Nice.
The one on the turntable is a running sample as well.
Yeah.
But as you looking at them now, they're just a really nice, finely detailed model. They just look good.
Yeah, like you said. So this is one of them's running sample, the other one's deco, right?
The other two are deco, yeah.
So again, you're looking for the same things. You're looking for checking everything's as it should be.
Yeah, we're just waiting for so obviously one of these is going to be a steam generator version as well. So we are just working on waiting for the PCBs for that to turn up, and so we can start developing that system as well.
Nice. So why the Black 5? Why was that something
It was
you wanted to do?
the old Black 5. It wasn't a bad model, but it just needed upgrading. And some most of the time some people say, oh, well, why couldn't you just change this little bit or that little bit? But when you get into it and you start looking at all the parts, you think, oh, I wish I could change that bit. I wish I could change that bit, and you end up starting to retool it again, and that's what happened with this.
Nice.
There were so many little improvements we could make all over the model. We just thought it would be better to start again in the long run. So
again, we're saying around 6 months or so until this will be in people's hands and on their layouts. What else have we got?
the window units are not entirely see-through at the moment. That's just because the tool makers tend not to fully polish the surfaces until we're happy with the fitment and things like that. So so that's basically where we are with this project at the moment.
And what's so special about these?
It's just iconic. I mean, we got the observation car again next door in the factory. There's only one of them in existence, but these were the real luxury coaches back in the day. And what's going to be so special about these models is we're going to, in real life, they had chrome lining down the sides, and we're going to hot foil that chrome lining, so it is actually going to be effectively chrome on the side of the models.
It's really distinctive looking. Model as well, just the front sort of look to it.
And I know Sam, the designer, he's worked for months trying to get the coupling between the coaches, because he's had like a curtain between each coach. So we had to work out this really sort of convoluted way of making the coaches go through points and still look like there's a curtain section there.
Oh, nice.
So I mean that gave him a bit of a headache, I think. But, we're just really happy with them now. They look fantastic.
Full interior and everything.
Fully decorated interior.
Yeah.
It's not just a regular seat unit in there. They are very high detailed interiors. Have got lighting. They're just going to look fantastic, I think, when they're finished.
Nice. So then, from this point, it's going to go into what's the next stage for this?
So the next stage is they're waiting for our comments back to the factory on the tooling. Then we'll go to an engineering sample, which is our running sample basically, so we can test the running of the coaches, and then we'll move on to decoration samples after that.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing all the development samples. It's always nice to see where we're at with projects and things like that, and see where they're going to. So next up, we're going to talk a little bit about events. So I can come back to Martyn now. You've been resting your voice for a little bit.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I mean, you've been charging up so yeah.
So obviously, you've recently visited Getz and
Great British Model Railway Show.
Yeah, up in Gaydon, and you've got Worley and Model Rail Scotland.
Yep, they're the ones that are on the cards at the moment. Yes, so we're kind of 2 down, and it's been there's only a week between them, so it's kind of quite full on for us. Luckily, we did have a few different things arrive from a development perspective that we could show at the events. But for me personally, it's a real eye opener. I haven't done a model railway show for 13, perhaps 14 years. So it's been a real long time, and it was just great to get out and meet some people, hear what they wanted, hear what kind of bothers them, what they're interested in. essentially like Carl's saying there about, giving designers headaches. Everything that gives a designer a headache means that we've stepped up one from before, and we're forever evolving. And you start thinking, can we keep always evolving? I think we can. To be sort of doing the second, third, or maybe even fourth tool of a certain class of locomotive over the years just shows kind of where we can go in this hobby. And to go out and meet people and for them to actually sort of appreciate it and see that detail makes it all very worthwhile.
Nice. And you look forward to Wally?
Yeah, I mean, Wally's the big one. So we got about 3 odd weeks away from that, and we do have a little bit of a surprise at Wally coming up as well. So what kind of watch this space that I'm not going to give too much away, because I could let stuff out the bag. There's going to be something there which will be great. We're there on a kind of a bit of a bigger stand almost, so we've got more to show and much more going on. So yeah, really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. And then I went to Wally last year, and I went to Monorail Scotland as well, which I really liked. And there was a lot of families, especially at the Monorail Scotland, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, you see it at shows. Sometimes it very often seems the case that day one seemed to be a bit more kind of a sort of enthusiast hobby and a bit more perhaps serious. And then as the show goes on, whether it's a 2 or 3 day, it gets kind of a bit more family orientated. And they're two very different worlds, and you kind of have very different audiences with different sort of needs. But seeing the family side of it for me is really, really eye-opening, because that's the future of it all, really. Without kind of new people coming in, you start to look at where this hobby and all the great things we're doing are going to go. So to have those kind of sort of 2 generations or various stages of things is, it's good to see.
Yeah, it sounds like a cliche, but whenever you speak to anyone, it's always, even like you said yourself, my dad, my mum, my granddad had a set, then I learnt from them when I was young, and it goes down like that, and you want to kind of keep that going.
Yeah, no, definitely. And when you talk to families, you can see kids are generally quite easy to read. You can see what they don't like, and they do very much with their hands, so they're kind of straight in on it. And I always love talking to the parents, try and get an understanding on where their interest in training has come from. And you're right, it would almost seem that 9 times out of 10 that they have been exposed to someone within their family, whether it's with their parents, an uncle or grandparents going up in generation, and it rubs off on some and not on others. For me and my personal life, I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. My 7-year-old boy, he's not really that interested in trains, but yet my 4-year-old girl is, and I'm pretty sure that all of that comes just from seeing in the way I react and what I'm potentially interested in. And so it does kind of bring it down to the next generation. So we need to keep doing that.
Yeah. And I like events as well. I like going to them because, like you said earlier, you get to talk to people and you get to talk to the community, because we spend a lot of times at our desks, and you put in really great work here. But then being able to go and speak to the community, the people that you're making those models for, is quite a privilege, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's even although we enjoy hearing the good points, we also want to know about the bad points as well. Cause, we want to make sure we don't make those. If we've made a mistake, don't make it again. And get that feedback. And so for me, it's priceless. Really,
it's very, very, very educational process for any brand and anything to have that opportunity. And we're lucky that within the industry that we're in, that there are these consumer events where we can actually get real first-hand feedback, whether it's positive or whether it's negative, on our products and what we're doing. And as you allude to, it gets you kind of out of the office and away from the day-to-day to take that time out and really understand people and listen to them. It's essential. It's very important.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much to you both for joining us. I'll finish for you, Martyn, with a question. Steam or diesel?
Oh, well, given how youthful I am, I'm going to go with diesel. Yeah. And so I suppose that there's just kind of 2 angles on this. There's model rail, and then there's the real things. Now, when it comes to the real things, I love both, but you're more likely to see an electric train or diesel. So when I started out as a kid, or I was first exposed to model railways, I did my dad's 00 stuff, which we weren't really allowed to play with. But my older brother had a Hornby train set, as you see it now, and he had a Lima Class 37, and it was just the size of it. It was so much bigger than my Thomas the Tank Engine so I had. So I was always kind of quite jealous, and I think that has left a mark on it. So Not necessarily in modern day terms would I say that it's the Lima Class 37, but from a diesel perspective, it's the Class 37 is going to be my favourite. I have other favourites, but I'm not going to say that because not only will it maybe start a whole debate on how mad I am, but I might be giving away what we're doing in the future.
Oh, okay.
Carl's laughing over there because we say about not joke about stuff in the office. We have an ongoing wind up, but I'm not going to say out loud what it is because I'm confident that one day I'll get my own way, no matter how bad it is.
I'm going to ask you afterwards.
But you didn't say electric in that, so you could have made it harder.
I was going to make it harder. I thought we'll start it off because I like electric. I think that doesn't get as much of a shine on it as maybe like you said, steam is traditional. So
and there's obviously you can see a lot of variation of things on heritage railways. But I always remember as a kid, I grew up in an era because I'm quite young, obviously. Of the VEPS slam doors, so that's what I saw going around on the kind of the Kentish and southeastern railway network, and so my first train set was a Thomas Tank Engine set, and then I had some, as you do, you get the extra bits bought, and I had James's coaches, and I quite often had two of those, and I quite often used to just push those around because at that time they were the nearest thing visually to what I was actually seeing. Obviously the livery was completely wrong, but the fact that they were a coach with a walk-through door, that's the way my imagination went as a kind of a 5 and 6 year old boy. So if you'd have said bought electric in, then the VEP would have had to been a challenging contester. That's all I'm going to say because I'll be giving things away after that.
So I'm going to read out a few questions from the chat before we go. That's why I'm looking down. It wasn't me.
You're getting bored? I thought you were getting bored.
No.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Asleep.
You've already broke the internet, so.
So, any idea when the 88DS will arrive?
2 to 3 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not far out.
Okay,
Yeah.
not far off. 88DS, sorry. Lots about the signal going on our signal box, which we again apologise about. Sounds back, but not great. The cough. Someone's mentioning about the cough.
I haven't got one yet, but there's still time. Yeah, I haven't got a cough yet.
We did an Airfix live yesterday, an Airfix pre-recorded with Luke, one of the Airfix researchers, and he had a full-on cold, and I felt really bad for him because he was struggling.
I hope you cleaned down before we came in. Yeah.
I'm going to bring back the GWR 28XX. They were fantastic models.
Interesting. You never know.
You've got to get your never say never.
That's it. Yeah.
Someone talking about TT Club, which is still available. So we don't like to talk too much about TT, but TT Club.
It is, yeah, and so
Collector Club as well.
TT Club. We've kind of changed that a little bit. By popular demand, almost, it's back to being a free club. When it was launched as a free club, and the kind of the amount of people that joined was quite overwhelming in a positive way, and we want to kind of retain those people because we've got a big journey to go on TT. But that's one for another day. I don't know how much you can talk about TT today because it's all the wrong scale on that, but it's a real exciting proposition. It's relatively a blank canvas, so the club is still running. The structure of it's changed slightly, but it's accessible. I'll leave on that.
Russell Benton asked, will there be a new catalogue in January?
There most certainly will, yeah. We're working very hard on that, and things at the moment are running to schedule. There's always little surprises along the way, but yes, there will be a new catalogue and full launch in January.
Nice. We had
on Double O.
Jeremy Johnson, good morning from Utah, United States. Howdy.
Nice.
A lot of people saying the Black 5 looks fantastic. Asking if we read the chat, so yeah, there we are.
It's proof.
We do. Do they have the same lamps as the turbo motive? I assume that's talking about the Black 5.
Yeah, we are still developing that at the moment. Ideally, we want these to be fully removable, and so people can set the right head codes for the model. So that's something we're working on this week actually. So I can't confirm what the final configuration will be yet, but it's something that's still in development.
Right. Russell Benton again asked, will there be a new catalogue in the new year? Sorry, I'm repeating that one there. We had someone asking about whether or not we're going to have a new track plans book at any point in the future.
Is that the TT?
Yeah,
TT or double O? What does it not say?
Just says, are you publishing a new track plan book in the new year?
Okay.
TT is the priority in that area for us, having track bands. That's one of the big questions we've had at the show, is kind of people asking about what you can fit in certain spaces. And so that's going to be, we need to really look at that with the obvious opportunity around TT and the scaling of it on the small space.
Jack Goodall asked, how do the lights on the Black 5 work? Is it possible to change the lamp codes, or are they permanently fixed in position?
Yeah, that's what we're working on at the moment.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it so we can change lamp codes. Yeah, that's the plan.
Again, I know it's not a TT show, but Dave asked, will the Easterner TT 120 DCC fitted set be back in stock soon?
If it's not already, it will be very soon. We have some more arrived.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, that's all we've got time for today, but keep your questions coming in on here. Always comment on our videos, and hopefully in the next one, maybe we can answer some of the questions that we didn't get a chance to answer this time round. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Sorry about the audio issues. I'll make sure we get that sorted for you next time. Follow us on all of our social media, of course. For anyone who hasn't, the former HVC, the Hornby Visitors Centre, is now Wonderworks, and that's open, so you can come down and see the Hornby section along with all our other brands. Don't forget to like, subscribe the video. Thanks for being here for these two joining us. Yeah, and we'll see you on the next stop. See you later.
Bye.
See you later.